Hi, everybody. This is Esther. Welcome to another live stream. Thank you so much for joining me today as we learn another English grammar lesson. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you are having a good morning, a good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day overall. Thank you so much again for being here. And please remember that Robin is here in the chat with me to help me answer your questions and anything like that. So say hi to Robin too, please. So let's see who's here. We see Evgeny and Hamza, Florin, Megna. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys are doing well. Um, and let's see, is anybody else here? Yeah, we have. Thank you guys so much for being here and supporting us. And while other people are coming in, I just want to remind you that Robin and I are working really hard to create more live streams, videos, more content overall to bring these lessons to you. And so we really appreciate you being here, and we hope that you'll continue supporting us in many ways. Some of the ways you can do that are by, commenting on the video, doing your homework, clicking like for our video, contacting us for questions, or just to chat on social media. You can find all of the links in the description below, and by considering donating to us so that we can make more videos in the future, more live streams and content in the future. Hi, Jasur, and Ongi is here saying hi to everybody as well. Jose, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining. All right. Well, I'm excited to have you guys here. I hope you are excited to learn another English grammar lesson. So let's just wait a little bit more until we have everybody here. All right. Well, we're going to go into the lesson now. So today, oh, hello, Kaushal. I hope that I'm saying your name correctly. Thank you for joining us. How are you? How are the rest of you doing? Okay, so today we start with the past simple tense. I'm sure that a lot of you have learned everything. Well, not everything, but a lot of these. So it might be a review, but we are going to go slow and I will try my best with Robin's help to answer your questions. Hello, Jenna Boo Diallo. Thank you for joining us again. How are you? Okay, so again, we're doing the past simple tense today. As usual, we will follow the lesson plan that we do every week. We will start with the lesson. After that, we'll move on to some practice questions and then test questions, which you guys always do very well on. And then we'll wrap up with homework. Okay, let's begin. Are you guys excited? I am. All right. So first, let's look at how to change or conjugate verbs to the past tense depending on the subject. Okay, so how we change the verb tense into the simple past or past simple, it's interchangeable, depends on the subject. So let's look at the column with the be verbs. Now, in the present tense, you know that we use is, am, are. However, in the past tense, in the past simple tense, we change the be verb to was and were. You'll notice it's a little bit different here. Usually we use he, she, and it differently, right? And I differently. But here, I, he, she, and it, all use was. Okay? All right. Oh, we have more people that have joined. Prakar, Sunny, Lady Lion, Fatih, right? Thank you for joining. How are you? So I was just explaining how to change the be verb when we use the past simple tense. Okay, so for the subjects I, he, she, and it, we change the be verb to was. I was. he was, she was, and it was. For the subjects you, we, and they, we say were. You were, we were, they were. Okay, so that's just going to take a little bit of memorization, which you guys are really good at. But look, have and do are changed into the same past tense for all of the subjects. So that should make it a little bit easier, right? Had. We change have into had for all the subjects. I had, he had, she had. We change do into did. No matter what the subject, it stays as did. So that should be a little bit easier. Good morning, Ongi. Okay, so we say it did, you did, we did, and they did. I hope that that's a little bit easy for you to memorize. Okay, let's move on. Now, let's talk about regular verbs, action verbs for the most part, right? All we have to do when we change a verb into the past tense, okay, the past simple, is add ed for most verbs, and we call these regular verbs. Let's look at the examples to my left, or this way. Sorry about that. So we will start with verbs like play, walk, cook, right? We add ed. That's all. It's pretty easy. And I will kind of pronounce the words, how they change the sound, and then you can ask questions. And in the meanwhile, let's say hi to Layla. It's so nice to see you here. Everybody, hi. Arash, Surya, and Subrata, thank you for joining. Right now, I'm talking about how to change some regular verbs when we are using the past simple tense. So we say played. Now, listen to what it sounds like when I add ed to walk. Walked. It almost sounds like a T. So you can practice along with me. Walked. Cooked. Cooked. It also sounds like a T. So maybe when it has a k sound like walk, cook, we can add more like a T sound. Walked. Cooked. However, when we use listen in the past simple, listened, listened, called, washed. Okay, there it also sounds more like a T, washed. Arrived, waited. For the last word, wait, the ed is more pronounced, waited, waited. Either one is okay, but the id is more pronounced, as you can see. All right, so let me go through them one more time. Maybe you can practice along with me. Played, walked, cooked, listened, right? Not listened, listened, called, washed, arrived, waited, waited. All right, now let's talk about irregular verbs because not all verbs follow this ed rule. In fact, the verb changes completely. It becomes a whole new word almost for some of them, not all of them. So, for example, for the verb go, in the past simple tense, we change it to went, right? I went. Come, we change to came. Get becomes got. So, for come and get, they're similar. You just change one letter. Eat becomes ate. Fell becomes felt. Wake up, right? You wake up in the morning, becomes woke up. Woke. We change the wake to woke. Break becomes broke. And take becomes took. Now, these are not the only irregular verbs in the past simple tense. So that means, again, a lot of memorization. You might have to look it up in the dictionary. You might have to look it up online because there are also a lot of irregular verbs that we have not included in this list. So let's move on to some more verbs. These are also irregular verbs, but why are they here? What do you notice? you might notice that the verb, the base verb, and the past tense verb are spelled exactly the same they're all spelled exactly the same. So let me go through and help you pronounce how to say each one. So put, the past tense is put, same. Hurt, hurt. So you'll notice that for most of these you just say the same thing. Cut, cut. Hit becomes hit, same. Set is also set. Beat, beat. And bet, bet. But wait, why is read highlighted in another color? I wonder if you guys know. Do you know? Well, it looks like the color has been highlighted in this color. Oh, I'm doing well, Kirmat. Thank you so much for asking. So the word read is highlighted in the color red. And hopefully that will help you remember that the past tense of read is read. Now I know that's a little bit confusing, so I'm going to say it again. The base verb read, when you're using that in the past simple tense, it's spelled exactly the same, R-E-A-D, but it's pronounced read. Okay, I read a book yesterday. Okay, Layla, you're correct. The past tense of read sounds like the word red, the color red. And that's why it's highlighted in red so that it will help you memorize. Okay, good. Great question. Again, the past tense is read. Okay, Florin asks, how do you spot the difference between the past tense and the present tense if the verb is in the same form and the pronunciation is the same? That's a great question. It can be confusing, so you have to listen and pay attention to the context. You have to look for the clues around it. For example, let me think. So let's think about the word hurt. Okay, so let's say that you see a friend and your friend has a band-aid or something, right? Or you see that they are bleeding. Oh, then you would say, oh, what happened, right? Why are you bleeding? And this person would say, oh, I hurt myself. You already know that this happened in the past because you can see that they hurt themselves, right? But if they say something like, remember the present tense is used when someone does something regularly, when someone does something all the time, or, in a pattern, a regular pattern. In that case, if that person says, oh, I hurt myself a lot, or I hurt myself every day because I'm so clumsy. So again, it is tricky, you're right, but a lot of times it's based on the context. That means you have to pay attention to the other words they're using. You have to pay attention to what you see, what you hear, right? Let me give another example. If I say something like, the mom hits her child when he's bad, right? In this case, because I have when he's bad, that shows that every time the child is bad, or almost every time, the mom hits him. So that shows that it's regular, right? It happens regularly. Also, I didn't use the past tense. I use hits, right? I use she hits. So that also shows that I'm talking about the present, okay? The past tense, hit, is the same for every subject. I hit, she, he, she, it hit, we, they, you hit. So that doesn't change. So that's also another way you can kind of think about it. If they didn't change the verb, it's going to be in past tense as well, depending on the subject. I hope that answered your question. Okay. But thank you for that question. That was a really good one. We can practice that more in the future. Maybe you can also try it in your homework to see how is it different in the present tense and the past tense. Okay, so let's talk about the usage. How do we use the past simple tense? Or more so, when do we use the past simple tense? There are several ways or several times that we use this. So first, we use the past simple tense to talk about something that happened once in the past. For example, I met Robin in 2012. We also use the past simple tense to talk about something that happened again and again in the past. We filmed many English videos over the years. Right? We didn't just do this once, we did it over and over again, but in the past. We filmed many English videos over the years. Also, we use the past simple tense for something that was true for a period of time, for some time in the past, okay, maybe for a duration, but not anymore. For example, I lived in Korea for 6 years, right? That happened for a period of time, quite a long time, but I don't live there anymore. I live in the US. Hi, Iluafi. I'm well. How are you? Okay, so we're just going through the usage rules for the past simple tense. The fourth rule is that we often use the word ago with the past tense. We don't have to, but we can, and it's used often. I went to New York 3 weeks ago. I went to New York 3 weeks ago. And this example is for the rule number 1, something that happened in the past, once in the past, right? 3 weeks ago, I went to New York. Okay, so now that you know the usage rules, take a look at them one more time before I move on. I think that you guys are following along very, very well. Let's talk about how to form the verbs and sentences in the past simple tense. All right, so to form the affirmative with a regular verb, we simply take the subject, add the base verb, and add ed at the end. For example, we is the subject here. We take the verb walk and we add ed. So it becomes we walked. And of course, you can add more details. We walked to school. We walked to school. We walked to school. What about when we want to form a sentence with the irregular verb? Hi, Abdul. Right now, I'm teaching the past simple tense. The past simple tense. And on this slide, I'm teaching you how to make the sentence in the affirmative for the past simple tense when the verb is irregular. Earlier, I shared many irregular verbs with you. You may have to go back later on to check them out, but also you can look online to see a big list of different irregular verbs in the past simple tense. So, Florin asks, Esther, do you think it's a good idea to keep a list of irregular verbs in front of us on a wall? Florin, I think that sounds like a great idea because, as I just said, you're right. Irregular verbs, there are a lot of them. And there aren't always these easy rules to follow, like add ed. It's not like that, right? Sometimes you change just one letter, right? From get to got, from come to came. Right? You just changed one letter. Sometimes you change the whole word. What were some examples? Go becomes went, right? There's no rule for that. It just totally changed the whole word. And then for some irregular verbs, as we saw, the spelling is exactly the same and the pronunciation is the same as well. Hit and hit. So I think, Florin, it's a great idea to keep a list and just practice memorizing them, practice using them, and I think you'll be good in no time. Okay, so let's continue back. Thank you for your question. Let's continue back to forming an affirmative sentence with an irregular verb in the past simple tense. We take the subject and we take the irregular verb. That's it. We went. And of course, we can add more to make the sentence more complete or more detailed. We went to school at 7 a.m. The base verb is go, but remember, it's an irregular verb, so in the past simple tense, it becomes a whole new word, went. We went to school at 7 a.m. When we're forming a negative sentence, the rules are a little different. This can be a little confusing, so I want you to maybe write this down if you need to. Here, we start with the subject. We put did. Now, the thing that makes it a little bit easier is that did does not change depending on the subject. That means no matter what the subject is, it could be I, he, she, it, you, we, they, it could be any subject, we always use did. We don't have to change it. And then we add not and then the base verb. So let's look at an example. Here's the subject, they, did not, and then another easy thing is that in the negative, we don't have to change the verb. We keep the base verb. They did not eat. You'll also remember that we can put did and not together to form a contraction. They didn't, that's did and not put together. Hello, Win. I'm so glad to see you back. They didn't eat breakfast this morning. Again, we put did and not together in the complete sentence. They didn't eat breakfast this morning. So again, did not and then the base verb. Okay, so when you're forming the negative, you don't have to memorize all the irregular verb formations. All right. When we're forming the interrogative, when we're forming a question, we start with did. Then we add the subject and then the base verb. So the negative and the interrogative, we're not using the past tense verb, right? We're using the base verb. Did plus subject plus base verb. So let's take a look at some examples. Did, the subject is you, and the base verb we used in this example is eat. When we put it together to form a complete and detailed sentence, did you eat breakfast this morning? Did you eat breakfast this morning? I'm asking about the past, this morning. The negative interrogative looks like this. Did, and you can see there's the N apostrophe T. That's the shortened version of not, right? Did not, and we put it into a contraction, plus the subject and then the base verb. Again, we don't have to use the changed, the conjugated verb. We just use the base verb. Let's look at some examples. Didn't you eat? So we're using eat again as the example base verb, but it doesn't have to be. It could be go, it could be come, it could be read, so many. Didn't you eat? Again, did plus not as a contraction. Didn't you eat breakfast this morning? Didn't you eat breakfast this morning? I'm confirming something. I think I know the answer, but I want to make sure. So I might use the negative interrogative to say, hey, didn't you eat breakfast this morning? Why are you eating again, right? I also want to thank you again, Prakar, for your donation. You have been so helpful to this channel. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your support and your love. All right. We are moving on to the practice now that you have learned all the ways to form the past simple tense. Okay. Before that, Hamza asks, when we use the auxiliary verb do, why does the verb get back to the original form? Like, I went to school yesterday. I did go to school yesterday. That's a tricky question. I can't say why it goes back to the original form. English is a tricky language, right? There are lots of rules and there are lots of exceptions. But all I can say right now is those sentences look correct. You can say, I went to school yesterday and I did go to school yesterday. However, the auxiliary verbs, they're used to do many things, help you ask questions, right? They can also be used to add emphasis, right? So in your second example, Hamza, when you write, I did go to school yesterday, you're simply emphasizing that you went to school. So if somebody says to you, did you go to school yesterday? You can say, yeah, I went to school yesterday, or yes, I did go to school yesterday. You're simply making your statement a little bit stronger. Okay? Thank you for your question. So I think everybody's been looking at this practice sentence for a while. Okay. All right. So it seems like everybody has the correct answer. Looks good. The the answer is sat. The past tense of sit is sat. In the affirmative, we do change the verb to the past tense, right? And you got it. And it's great because that is an irregular verb and you guys got it right. They sat on the beach all day. They sat on the beach all day. Great. I think you guys are ready for the practice question number 2. Now, please try the negative. This one might be a little trickier. The negative. The subject is I. The verb is wait. Very long. All right. Please try putting your answers in the chat. You might have to kind of go through your brain and remember, wait, how do I do the negative for the past simple tense? Because it's a little bit different, right? Okay, child, that's great. However, I want you to try the negative. Okay, weighted is great, but try the negative. I want everybody to try the negative. Maybe I will maybe I need to go back. What do you guys think? Okay, it looks like Florin might have the right idea. Okay, remember that in the negative, right? Remember that in the negative, we use did not and then the base verb. Did not and then the base verb. And remember, you can put did and not together in a contraction. You don't have to, but you can. So the correct answer, as Florin and Sushil said, is didn't wait. Didn't wait. Yes, it can be tricky, right? It is tricky, you're right. But the correct answer is didn't wait. So the negative and affirmative are pretty different. And so is the interrogative. So let's try interrogative next. Blank, she, blank, with the base verb call, me yesterday. All right, please go ahead and try this one. And I will give you guys a hint, maybe, if you need it. I won't if you guys look like you're getting it right. All right. I'm waiting around for a few more answers. Okay, Hutami Maori, great try. And you're on the right track. Okay, I'm going to wait a little bit more and then give you guys a clue. Okay, Hannah, that is also a great try. However, that's the negative interrogative. What do you think you would use if you're just asking? Not the negative, just interrogative. So let me give you guys a clue. All right, remember that for the interrogative, we use did plus the subject plus the base verb. Okay, please excuse my handwriting. But yes, we use did plus subject plus base verb. So that changes things a little. Does that jog your memory? Okay, Layla, it looks like you're on the right track. The correct answer for the interrogative is, did she call me yesterday? Okay, so hutami mari, again, you're very close, but we use the base verb. Don't say called because we already used did. Did is the past tense there, so we don't have to change or conjugate call. Use the base verb call. Did she call me? All right. Good. Thank you very much. Great try, and it's okay to make mistakes. I want you to make mistakes. It's easier to learn when you realize how you need to fix the mistake. So great try. All right, let's move on to practice question number 4. I know that this is challenging because past simple tense has a lot of rules. Okay, question number 4. Now I want you to try the negative interrogative. Negative interrogative. So think about the interrogative, what we just did, right? Asking a question, but now use the negative. That should be a big clue. I'll give you a few seconds to try. All right. Florin, thank you. Esterific. That's a wonderful word. I love it. Thank you. I hope that means good. Is that right? Okay, so let's see some of your answers. And let's see, I might give a little bit of a clue. Okay, Win says, didn't they do? All right, let's see some more answers before I either give a clue or share the correct answer. Okay, it sounds like more of you are on the right track for this one. Great. All right, I think you guys got it. So let me just go ahead and share the answer. Didn't they do the dishes yet? Sunny, great job. Didn't they do the dishes yet? And that's correct. When we use the negative interrogative, we're simply trying to kind of confirm what we think we already know. Okay, so, oh, I heard them do the dishes. Didn't they do them? Didn't they do the dishes yet? Okay, all right, because I think they already did, right? All right, good job. Let's move on to the last practice question. The last practice question, number 5, we're back to the affirmative. However, you'll notice that we have an irregular verb here, hurt. She blank herself last night. The base verb here is hurt. You might have to think back. What is the past tense of hurt? I'll give you guys a few seconds to share your answers and then I will give my answer. All right, Layla, answer very quickly. Okay, looks good. Let's see what other people think. Okay, Hannah, that makes sense. She didn't hurt. But remember, we're doing the affirmative right now. Good. I want you to try. You did it. You got the negative correct. Now try the affirmative. Hutami. All right, looks good. Why the question mark? You're not sure? Okay, Anand Patel says hurt. All right, and it looks like you guys are on the right track. The correct answer is hurt. She hurt herself last night. So if you remember, the past tense of hurt is simply the same, hurt. And they're pronounced the same as well. All right, great job. Let's move on to the test questions. Are you ready? All right. Test question number 1. He blank a big dinner for me last night. All right, this is your chance to be creative. This is your chance to try many different answers if you want. Try some regular verbs, try some irregular ones, okay? And then I'll share some possible answers in just a few seconds. So in the chat, please share what you think would be a good answer here. I want to see past simple tense. He blanked a big dinner for me last night. All right, Hannah says he cooked. Okay, good. Let's see some other answers. Treated. Win says treated. And that's fine. That is the past tense of treat. Very good. However, maybe in this sentence, you would say, he treated me to a big dinner last night. And that means he paid for a big dinner. Anand Patel, great try. However, you make is an irregular verb. So you might have to look online to see what is the past tense of make. And I'll give you the answer in just a second, but I want you to try to find it yourself first. Hutami said he make. So Hutami and Anand, you both are trying to use the base verb make. Look online or look in a dictionary. You can also ask somebody, what's the past tense of make? It's irregular, so it's a little bit different than what you might expect. Okay? Chao Chi Nem says cooked. He cooked a big dinner for me last night. Okay, so Anand Patel and Hutami, I don't know if you found the answer yet, but the past tense of make is made. So let's share some of the possible answers here. He cooked a big dinner, which we saw. He made. All right, so great try. Now you know the past tense of make is made. It's irregular. Or you could have said he prepared. He prepared. You'll notice with the verb prepare, we don't add ed, we simply add one d. Okay? Let's move on to test question number 2. The past simple. I blank in France in 1996. That was a long time ago. Some of you, I don't know if some of you were, how old were you then? But either way, please be creative. Please try to share your answers. What would work for this sentence? I blank in France in 1996. Please share your answer. Okay, Jasur Alimov says lived. Okay, great. And remember, if it's an irregular verb, you might want to look it up just in case. Okay, Win also says lived. That seems like a popular answer. Abhishek Kumar says stayed. Okay, that works as well. Great. Ooh, Ongi is sitting on me right now. Okay. Born. Okay. Anal, that's a little bit harder. That one would actually, you would say, I was born. Why don't you try something else? I was born in France. That's fine. But that's a little bit more complicated. Hannah says, I visited. Great. That works very well. I visited. Okay. Let's go ahead. I will share some of my possible answers. Katimi Hassan, wow, I finished my studies in France in 1996. That's a very detailed sentence. Great job. I finished my studies. Okay, here are some of the answers that I put. I lived in France. I worked in France in 1996, and I traveled in France. All right, great job. Let's move on to question number 3. I blink too much TV last year. Okay, so here maybe you could even try some negative if you want, right? You can try affirmative, you can try negative, but either way, I want you to try. And please put your answers, what you think could be the answer, in the chat. Thank you. Okay, Abhishek says watched. All right, that works. I watched. Okay, Anand also says watched. All right, that works. Okay, Jasur says bought. Bought is the past tense of buy. So in this case, Jasur, you might say, I bought too many TVs last year. So that makes it a little more complicated, but I bought too many TVs. Maybe you bought like five. That sounds very expensive. Okay, Abhishek says, didn't watch. Good, I'm glad you tried the negative. Dudo says, saw. All right, here are some of my possible answers. Oh, okay, never mind. I watched too much TV, but you can also say, I didn't watch too much TV last year. That means I didn't watch a lot. That's okay as well. I saw. Those are all great. Test question number 4. She didn't blank her homework. So here, it's already been done for you, the negative, right? Now, I want you to think, what are some verbs that can go in this sentence? Please put your answers in the chat and I will check them. Okay, Win says do. She didn't do her homework. That sounds great. Win noticed something. Hannah says made. She didn't made her homework. All right. So I might have to remind you guys that for the negative, since it's didn't, we use the base verb. Okay. So in this case, don't conjugate. Don't change the verb. Use the base verb. Okay. So Hannah, try again. What verb is the base verb? What's the base verb of made? Okay, sounds like a lot of people think finished. All right, so remember again, in the negative, when we have didn't or did not, we use the base verb, not the conjugated, not the changed verb. Use the base verb. That means we should say something like, she didn't do her homework. She didn't finish her homework. She didn't complete her homework. So those are some of the possible answers. Okay, so again, remember to use the base verb, not the past tense verb. And going back to Hannah, that's a great verb, but in this case, we wouldn't say make her homework. That's not a very common phrase. You can say she didn't take her homework. That's okay. That means that she didn't like take her homework to class. Maybe she finished her homework at home, but she didn't take it to class. She accidentally left it. In that case, that's okay, but you would have to say that she didn't take her homework to class, or she didn't take her homework home. Where did she not take it? Okay. However, making homework is not really common. Sunny wrote she didn't get her homework. That's okay. Yeah, she didn't get her homework. Maybe the teacher, forgot to give it to her. Okay. Elma Morante said had. She didn't had. Now, you can use have. Remember, Elma, we have to use the present tense. We have to use the base verb for this because we have didn't. Use the base verb. Emu says accomplish. I'm glad you used the base verb, but I wouldn't say, it's not very common to say accomplish homework. Okay. And she didn't write her homework, Anand says. That's okay. Usually the teacher writes the homework on the board, right? And he or she says, okay, students, write down your homework in your notebook. Maybe she didn't write her homework. Okay. Let's move on to the last test question. Good questions. All right. I blank him 6 years ago. I blank him 6 years ago. Okay. Please share some of your answers in the chat. Let's see what you think. And soon we will be wrapping up. All right. Naime Bazerbach. I hope I'm getting it right. I'm sorry. But they say saw. I saw him 6 years ago. That works. Hutami Mari. Meet. Great. That's a good verb to use here. However, because it's the affirmative, not the negative, right? There's no didn't or not even. You want to use the past tense of meet. Can you find the past tense of meet? It's an irregular, so you might have to look online. Well, actually, Win New has it. Met is the past tense of meet. So the better answer would be I met him 6 years ago. Okay, Sunny wrote, I killed him 6 years ago, but she clarified that it was a chicken. All right. Chow says, I met him 6 years ago. Okay. Jenabu Diallo, I gave birth to him 6 years ago. Wow, that's a complicated sentence. Very good. It looks correct. I gave birth to him. Hannah says, I visited him. Great job. I visited him 6 years ago. So you're correct. In this sentence, you want to use the past tense. Sunny, I divorced him 6 years ago. Good. That makes sense as well. All right, and I'm going to share the answers. Then we'll wrap up with homework and our goodbyes. Katimi Hassan said, I has him. Now, Katimi, you want to use the past tense of has. Do you know what that is? The past tense of has is had. I had him 6 years ago. Now, this sentence would not be very common. What does it mean to have someone? Does it mean that you maybe kidnapped him and you had him in your house? I'm not sure. But in any case, had is the right verb. All right. So thank you so much. Here are some of the answers that I provided. I saw him 6 years ago. I haven't seen him again. I married him 6 years ago. I hired him to work for me, to work for my company 6 years ago. These are some possible answers as well, but you guys gave some great ones. All right, we're going to finish up soon, but before then, I want to give you guys some homework, and you guys have been doing a wonderful job with that. I really want to thank you for trying and taking the time to do it. So for homework this week, I would like you to please give some more example sentences using the past simple tense in the comment section below this video. So please try affirmative, please try negative, please try interrogative, negative interrogative. Try whatever you can, okay? Robin and I will give you feedback as soon as we can. All right, so we're almost at the end of our video. I want to thank you again, everybody, for being here today, for participating, for commenting, for trying. And again, I hope we see you next week. I hope that you learned a lot this week. I hope that also that you will check out the links to meet us on social media. You'll like the video, you'll comment and do homework, and you'll continue supporting us. So it's time for us to go. Let's say bye to a few people, and then I will see you next week. Again, thank you so much. I hope that you guys learned a lot. All right. Good. I'm so glad, Layla, that you were here today. Jasur, thank you so much for being here. I hope you liked the lesson. Tata, ciao. Okay. Thank you again, everybody. I hope you have a good day or a good night wherever you are. And I'll see you again very soon. Bye. Thank you. See you next week.